Okay, so good morning, guys. So, any questions to have in the last class? Gone through all. So, all the commands you have executed in your system and made the notes. Okay, so fine. Then, online guys, do you have any question? Okay, so in the last class that we have discussed about what is Linux, features of Linux, and couple of commands that we have discussed. So, what was the last command? Okay, the features of Linux we have discussed and union commands we have discussed it. So that's fine. So let's have I told you about this one types of desktop, Genome desktop and KD desktop. Fine. So let's continue that types of login. So the next one that which we are going to discuss about the types of login. So how many types of logins that we have? So we have the two types of login. The first one we have the GUI and the second one we have the TUI. So what is the GUI and what is the TUI? GUI stands for it's a graphical user interface. GUI stands for it's a graphical user interface. TUI it's a text user interface. See the graphical desktop, the one which you can see on the screen, this one. Every day, if you wanted to log into the system, so first you will get the graphical window. No, that is a graphical desktop that you have. 1 minute. It's not charging. Okay, so the once you log into this, if you log into the system, so once you boot the system, the first login window, you're going to get the graphical window. So that is a GUI login. So TUI in the sense text user interface where you're going to put the command and access the operating system. So how to take the TUI login that I will show you. In yesterday's class that we have seen that in the graphical where and all what are the options we have. How we can take the GUI login that we have seen. In the graphical where and all the options we have, if you wanted to configure anything through the graphically, that's such options that I have showed you, but it never use that. So the graphical desktop, you never have the graphical desktop, the one which I've showed you in the yesterday's class. So let's go for the TUI. So TUI is a text user interface where you're going to put the command and access the operating system. Okay, so how we can access the TUI? So for that you have to go to the shortcut Control plus and Alt plus, and you have to use that functional key that the F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6. By default, that this many terminals that you have by default. If you wanted to go to the TUI, so the Control plus Alt plus F1, Control Alt F2, Control Alt F3, F4, F5, F6, that like that, you have to use that all the shortcuts that you have to use it. So if you wanted to go for that, Control Alt F1, if I enter, so I don't see any difference. My graphical desktop is sitting here. My graphical desktop is sitting in the F1. If I use the Control Alt F2, so now I'm completely into the TUI. So now I'm completely into the TUI. So this is the way that I'm going to put the command and access the operating system. Okay, so for that, how we can log in, whichever the user that you want, you can log in. I just go for root and the password, it's a Red Hat, I give it and enter. So now I have logged in, and here the same commands, whatever the commands that we have seen executed yesterday, the same commands you can execute and you can access it. Remember, if you log into any production server, so this is what the login you will get it. So from here that you have to put the username and password, then you have to access the operating system. Okay. Next one. So now here that I have showed you Control Alt F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6. By default, we have the 6 terminal. What is the maximum terminals can be configured? The maximum terminals can be configured. The 64 terminals can be configured. So maximum 64 terminals can be configured, but default you have 6. Maximum 64 can be configured. Now here that if you wanted to go for the Control Alt F6, so here also you will get the black window. So here also you can log in with the same user or whichever the other user you want, you can log in and access the operating system. Okay. So then at last that, so if you're going to see that, how many functional keys we have in the keyboard? How many functional keys we have in the keyboard? Up to F12. Correct. So if you, I told you here that we have that the 64 terminals can be configured. In one of the servers, 64 terminals, it's configured. How you can switch for 13, 14, 15, 16, up to 64? Do you have the functional key after 12? We don't have it. So in that case, that what you have to do. So if you wanted to switch from one terminal to another terminal, the command that you have to go for CHVT. CHVT full form, it is change virtual terminal, and you have to put the terminal number. See, in this system, it's not configured. I'm showing the command. Now CHVT space 50 and enter. So what happens? It's getting to the 58 terminal. It's blank actually. It's not configured. If it is configured, it shows the window like this. The login prompt, you will get it. Now I just go for, I will go back to the 58 terminal. Okay, so now here that if you wanted to switch to the less than F12, for that also you can use the CHVT command. It's not that always that you have to use this shortcut. If you want, you can use this shortcut, you can use it. Otherwise, that you can use the CHVT also, you can use it. It's not that always after 13 only. Within 13 also, you can use this. So I'm going to give CHVT 5. CHVT full form, it is change virtual terminal. I'm switching it to the 5th terminal and enter. So now here I'm just going to log in. So if you want, you can log into the normal user or root user, you can log in. So once I log in, I wanted to know that where I'm in. No, this all the terminals looks like same. All the black window it shows. Now at last that if I wanted to know that where I'm in, so for that you have to run the command TTY. TTY full form, it is tele terminal type. It shows that where you are. Can you see the output here? TTY 5, which means that I'm in the 5th terminal. The same thing if I go for other terminal, and here if I run TTY command, so which terminal I'm in? I'm in the 2nd terminal now. TTY 2 it shows, no. The same thing if it shows 20, which means that I'm in the 20th terminal. Okay, so this is how you can see that which terminal you are in. Okay, so the next one. In the Windows operating system, so if you wanted to, when you're accessing the Windows operating system, now I wanted to go away from the system for some time. So there is some activities going on. So I think that, okay, let's put for break and go for breakfast now. So in that case, can I leave the system, just open it like this, and can I go away from the system? So then what do you do? But activity is going on. No. You're going to lock the system. Correct. So how you're going to lock the system in the Windows? What is the shortcut? Windows L is a shortcut, you use it. But when you're using the Linux operating system, how can I lock the system? So there you are going to use a shortcut, but here it does not work the shortcut. If you wanted to go away from the system, so make sure you have to install one package. What is that? Yum install vlog star space -y. Vlog is a one package that you have to install. It's a virtual lock. Okay, now I enter. So once I enter, it says that it's already installed the latest version, nothing to do. In my system, it's already installed. But in your system, you cannot install it now. You have to wait at least 1 week's time. So then once I come to that concept, I will tell you what you have to do it. Once you configure in your system, that you are able to install the package. Okay, so now in my system, it's already installed. Now, if I wanted to lock the system, just run the command vlog and enter. See here, it has got locked the system. Now, if anyone come to your system, make sure that guy must have the password. So if he's going to give the correct password, then it's going to unlock it. Okay, and one more thing. So if I go for vlog command, it has got locked at the present terminal where you have run the vlog command. If I go for the any other terminal, see as it is, I can run the command here. But how can I lock that all the terminal? I cannot lock one single terminal and go away. So other terminal is still open. If you have 115 terminals or 10 terminals, if you open it, make sure that you have to lock all. Correct. So for that, you have to go for the vlog space -a, A for all, which you're going to lock the entire system. If it is on the production server, if it is a multiple terminals, it's open. You cannot go for each terminal and locking. It takes a lot of time. By the time your break time may get over. Correct. So because of, so instead of that, you can use that vlog space -a and enter. See, it has got locked the entire system. If I use Control Alt F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, nothing works because it has got locked the entire system. So make sure here that you have to put that. So the correct password to unlock it. So then once it is unlocked, then you are able to use it as it is, you can use the system. Clear? So if you wanted to come back to the graphical, you have to use Control Alt F1, you can use it. Otherwise, see some system, no, some of your system shortcut does not work because we are all using the Linux operating system on the Oracle VirtualBox. Some system does not support for this, all the shortcuts, Control Alt F1, F2, F3, that does not support. Where it does not support, anyway, you will log into the system to the graphical desktop itself. You have to use the command here, chvt and 3. Now enter. It will go to the black window and here that you can log in. So once you're done with the job here, whatever the function you want, once it is done in, from here that if you wanted to come back to the graphicals, you have to run the command chvt space 1 and enter. Now I will come back to the graphical. So where you cannot run the shortcut, no, go for the chvt command. Okay. So the next one, you're clear with this now? You understood that chvt command, tty command, and this shortcuts Control Alt F1 to F6. Okay. So the next one. See, in yesterday's class, I have told you, if you wanted to open the terminal, just right click and open the terminal. So this is the way that you will put the command and access the operating system. So here that I'm going to show you some shortcuts without the mouse, that if you wanted to access the operating system, opening the terminal, Alt F2. Alt F2 is the shortcut you have to use it, and Alt F2, one small window will open run application. Instead of this, that you have to type the genome-terminal. You have to type the genome-terminal and enter. See here that the window has got launched. The terminal window has got launched. It's not that always that you have to right click and open the terminal. Okay, so if you use the Alt F2, and again, if you wanted to open the terminal, it's not that you have to open like this. See, already one terminal, it's open. You have to use the shortcut that Control Shift N. See here, I'm opening the multiple terminals, I'm opening it. So there is no limit in the graphical, no, hundreds of terminals you can open it. There is no limit in the graphical, saying that like 50 terminals or 5 terminals, not like that. N number of terminals you can open it. If one terminal is open, Control Shift N is the shortcut, you can use it to open the multiple terminals. If you wanted to close this, Control D, see here, I'm just closing off the terminals. Only one is present here. See why we have to open multiple terminal when we have the multiple task. So then we go for the multiple terminal. Instead of opening the multiple terminal in one single terminal itself, I can open the multiple terminals. How? So for that, Control Shift T. Can you see the difference here? In one itself, I have opened the multiple terminal. It's not that always you have to open the individual. In one itself, you can open the multiple terminals. You can open it. Okay. Yeah, this is graphical desktop.
Then what is it for?
That is TUI. Yes, I'm showing the shortcuts when you're in the graphical, opening the multiple terminal and accessing it. But the same shortcut, it does not work in the black window. So that whatever I have showed you, that Control Alt F1, F2, that you have to use it. Okay. So the next one. So you can see here that the Control Shift T is the shortcut. You have to use it in one single terminal. I have opened 4 terminal. How can I switch from one terminal to another terminal? So for that, Control, page up and Control Shift. Where is that? You have to use that control and page up and page down is a shortcut. You can use that. See here that the movement here, control, page up and page down. If you use it that, you can switch from one terminal to another terminal. If you wanted to close it again, that the control D, you have to use it to close the terminal here. Okay. So now if I wanted to minimize the terminal, Alt F9 is to minimize. If I wanted to maximize it, Alt Tab. This is same in Windows also. Alt Tab we have. When you have the multiple terminal, you can choose it like this. Alt Tab and you can choose it and you can open it. Now that I have one terminal, if I wanted to make the full screen, F11 you have to use it. F11 is to make it full screen. Okay. So one time if you press it, that it's going to occupy the full screen. Again, if I press it, if F11, it comes to the normal size. Okay, so now I made it full screen. Once I made it full screen, the font size, it has become small. How can I increase the font size? Control Shift plus plus plus, you have to use it. Control Shift plus plus. Control Shift, you have to hold it. Plus plus, you have to multiple times. If you press it, it will get increased. The same thing if you wanted to reduce it, Control minus, that you have to use it to reduce it. Okay, so now I'm just going to run the couple of commands here. ls command, cal 2023. Now I wanted to clear the screen. If I wanted to clear the screen, the clear is a command. Otherwise, Control L is a shortcut. You have to use it. Now I enter. Now I have used the command, clear command. Whatever the earlier command which I have used it, I wanted to go back and check in the sense. So Shift page up, you have to use it. It goes up, page down, Shift page down, it comes down. So that you can go, instead of normally what we are going to do, we go for scroll up instead from the mouse. Instead of the Shift page up and Shift page down that you have to use it, whatever the commands we have used it, along with the output that we can see. Okay, so the next one. So now I wanted to close this terminal. If I wanted to close the terminal, one thing that exit is a command. If you use the exit, that it gets closed. But I wanted to close this terminal, but existing one, I have to close it, that I have to open the new one. Instead of doing this all the job in the existing terminal itself, just run one command, that is reset. If you run that reset command, it opens the new terminal. Okay, normally we run exit command and we right click and opening the terminal instead of that reset. So now if I use Shift page up, no, nothing shows because it's a new terminal has got launched here. Okay, so now what has happened? Bold. So for that, you have to run the command tput bold. Normally, when we're writing the mail, we use shortcut. No, Control B. If you wanted to highlight something, the same thing. So till I close this terminal, it's remained the same. I don't want this bold. See, in the further commands that whatever I run it, it shows with the bold. If I wanted to go to the normal, you have to run the command that the tput reset. If I go for the tput reset, it goes to the normal and enter. See, now here that if I go for ls or any other command, if I run it, that it shows in the normal. Okay, so now in the Windows, if you wanted to copy something, what is the shortcut you use? Control C and Control V. Copy paste, you do it itself. See, now here I have one file called install.log. I wanted to copy this. So for that, Control Shift C is to copy, Control Shift V is to paste. Same shortcut. In between, you have to use Shift. Shift, you have to use it. Otherwise, the same shortcut you have. Okay, so the next one. So now here that I have this terminal. If I wanted to move from the mouse, that left and right, up and down from the mouse, we do like this. So this with the shortcut, if you wanted to do that, Alt F7, and then you have to use the arrow keys. So Alt F7, you have to hold it and you have to use the arrow keys. So with the help of this, you can move the mouse left and right, up and down, you can move it. Okay, so here that I have showed you some important shortcuts I have showed you, but still if you need that some more shortcut, after opening the terminal, just go to the edit. In the edit that you have an option called the keyboard shortcut. So just click on that. So here the first one itself, can you see here, copy and paste, they have given the first one. So most of the shortcut already have covered. So some few shortcut, if you wanted some more, then see this. Okay, so this is how that with the help of the shortcuts, you can access the system fast. Opening the terminal, closing it, and all the time you don't need to depend on the mouse. Use the shortcut, then you can play with this. Opening the multiple terminals and all. Clear? Next one. So here, I'm just, whatever the commands that I have run, see here that I have run some commands here. Correct. So now here, that whatever the commands I have run, I wanted to check, is that the right command I have run or not? See, in our day-to-day activity, what happens? No. So according to the requirement of the clients, sometimes we will go to the Google and we will find out some commands and then we execute on the server or test server first, we will run it. If you're not sure, we will be having one test server. So on that server, we try to execute that and we will see that what is the impact on that. Accordingly, we will go for the production server. So in that cases, let's take one example, date command. Already, you know, in yesterday's class, you have seen that what is the function of the date command. Assume that it's a very new command for you and you have got some output, but still you have the question whether I have run the correct command or not. How do you check? If you go to the Google, no, you will get still more multiple commands, you will get it. You have to spend a lot of time on that. Instead of that, after running the command, if you wanted to cross check whether you have run the correct command or not, so for that, the command you have to go for echo space $ question mark and enter. Can you see the value here? 0. Echo is to print the statement. And if you get the value to 0, which means that the last command you have run the correct command. Okay, so now what I do the spelling mistake here and enter. Can you see the message here? Clearly it's saying that command not found. So when the command not found, see, don't think that always you will get this message. Some commands you don't get this message when you have the wrong command. Okay, so in that cases, if you wanted to check, run the same command and enter. Can you see here? We have got 127. So which means that the last command which I have run, it's a wrong command. 127, 128, 142, 146, like that different number you will get it if you go for the different flavor of the Linux. Okay, you no need to worry about the number, what number you will get it. If you get any numerical number, which means that the last command which you have run, it's a wrong. And if you get the value, it's a 0, which means that the last command which you have run, it's a right command. That's all. Okay, so with the help of that, easily you can check whether you have run the correct command or not. So this is frequently we use it on the server. Okay. And one more thing. So once you run this command, it's not going to, it's always it checks the last command. Last to last command, it's not going to check. Always it checks the, before running the echo command. No, what was the last command? That alone it check and give the output on that. Okay. So any questions do you have on this? With this, the first unit is done. So it's completely about the basic we have seen. So in yesterday's class, we have discussed some few concepts. In today's one, how to access the TOI login and some shortcuts we have seen. It's clear? Online, guys?
Addition undo option. So if you clear the objects, there is undo option.
Which one?
Sorry, comments.
Undo option for what?
So in case we clear the comments, there is undo option.
You will be having in the history, which means you are telling that if you type wrong command, see now I just type some command and enter.
Okay.
It's saying
We should clear. Okay.
you wanted to clear this. No, that cannot be clear. It goes to the history. See here, if I go to the history is the command that it shows that what are the commands that we have executed. So that command already went to the history. You cannot clear it once you execute it. Okay. Yeah.
So many of corporates use to test results.
Many of the
Corporates use to test results.
yes, you never have the graphical. That is what from yesterday I'm telling. This graphical desktop is only for the classroom setup. Okay. So if you go for the production servers, if you take any login of any of the server, this is the login, you will get it. From here, you have to log in. You have to run all the commands here. See here, I cannot increase the font. Okay, so that is what I'm doing it. In the graphical desktop, I'm just running the command. I can increase it how much ever I want. I can increase it here. Clear? Okay, so all in guys, I disconnect now, log in back quickly. We will go for the next concept. Log in back quickly.